Wow. Hello. Welcome to our DM deep dive with Chris Hately, who we just saw in that opening video. How wild is that, Chris, to see you in our upcoming spring? That's exciting.
It never stops being strange. One day maybe, but that day is not today.
Well, welcome everybody. I'm here with our local legend, Chris Hately, who is coming to the castle this summer with us, and then again in November, and then again in spring. We just can't get rid of him. We're super excited to have him around. So we're here today to talk mostly about your spring. Your summer session, because that's what we're coming up next with. We're excited to talk about that. And we'll maybe tease a little bit about what you've got planned in spring, which is being released to tickets for deposit holders next week. So if you're interested in that, this is the last week to grab our deposits for $150 off, so you can have priority registration. But we'll get more into that later. So, Chris, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. It's been a changeable day. Very cold, very wet, and then very sunny all of a sudden. So
That
fun. It's always fun in the UK.
There you go. Well, let's chat about your upcoming hardcore mode at our new castle we are going to this summer. So, why don't you give us a teaser about what you got cooked up for us?
So the game coming up is Lords of Madness. It is an illithid invasion of a world. So it's kind of one part alien. Aliens, I suppose. One part traditional fantasy. So the players will be playing essentially a resistance movement, trying to kill or take down the illithids that have taken over.
Awesome and kind of scary. So, yeah, cool. Well, this is your first time doing hardcore mode with us, right? Great. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that, what you're excited about, and maybe give us a quick overview of what hardcore mode is for those of us who don't know, and share with us about what you're excited about for hardcore mode.
So hardcore mode is usually you'll be playing 2 4-hour sessions. In hardcore mode, you play 2 4-hour sessions. In hardcore mode, you play 3 4-hour sessions. So it's 12 hours of D&D over the course of each day. And I'm looking forward to it. I've kind of run hardcore mode unofficially when I did Chronicle mode last year. We ran all 3 sessions, so I kind of know what to expect from a physical standpoint, like how it's going to impact me. A narrative perspective and kind of not being able to prep between sessions. That's what I'm interested in. And there is some, not universal yet, but there is some interest in the party to try and beat the hardcore mode record, which is I think 57 hours. So we shall see. We shall see.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not even. Wow. Good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you.
You'll be in the dungeon, and they actually have a dungeon here. And so we'll just make sure to roll some food down there for you guys. Pillows and blankets too, if you need them.
Just sleep there.
Basically,
we don't need rooms.
Basically, what is our motto? Eat, sleep, roll dice. That's all you guys are going to do. Maybe sleep. Yeah, so that's exciting. So you kind of mentioned you've done Chronicle mode. You've done our normal mode, I guess now, or just campaign mode. So do you want to talk a little bit about the difference in that? You've kind of touched on that a bit, and the different modes you've done, because I think you're going to be the first one to do all 3 of them now.
Yes, I think so. So my first game was the youth table, youth mode, I think it is now. That actually ended up being far more normal than I was expecting, because I didn't know any of the kids who were part of the game. Youth mode, for those who might not know, is for kids under 18 and a parent who's at the table. So I came in kind of expecting the type of D&D that I've run for kids before, and they were super mature. I just ended up running a campaign that I would run for just about anybody. that was fabulous. Chronicle mode was a really nice extension of that, getting to know the players as much as anything over the course of 2 full weeks, or 2 full events. Was fabulous. Even if running a different edition of Dungeons and Dragons every day, which is not normal to Chronicle mode, but was the game I was running, was very intense, very rewarding, but very intense. So I'm looking forward to seeing what how the normal mode relates to that, or is sorry, no, hardcore mode. I'm getting my games mixed up
You've
now.
done all of them.
It's yeah. Sorry, I'm looking forward to seeing how hardcore mode relates to those two. Like, again, not having that time to prep, having to be much more on my feet.
Yeah. So, touching back on hardcore mode, you mentioned that you want to beat the running tally. Apparently, it is 51 hours, so not even as bad as you think. 51, easy.
That makes a difference because it's not 19 hours a day.
Yeah, 51 hours. I think you could do that. You might have already done that with Chronicle mode.
I wouldn't like to say without confirmation. I'll double check.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah. So you've definitely been to the castle quite a few times. You've done all of the modes, and you've done, I think it was our first youth table, which is now being called family mode because it's for all families. Yeah. You did our first Chronicle mode. So you have definitely seen it all. And why do you keep coming back then to be a DM for D&D in a castle? Tell us a little bit about that.
So I've done a lot. I've done just about everything, I think, DMing at the castle. I started off on one shots. I've done Chronicle mode, like you say, family mode. I have never, and I have very good home groups. I have really well bought in home groups that get on well together, that play well mechanically, that play well narratively. I have never had more bought in groups than I have at the castle. It was what I noticed when I started doing one shots, was everybody just instantly knew what they were doing, had an idea of their character, and was happy to play with other people at the table. There was kind of an inbuilt yes and. I think because everybody's there to do it. This is what they're there to do. The outside world kind of doesn't infringe on that in any real way. And then running the campaigns that, these are characters they've looked forward to playing since before they bought tickets. They've kind of they've had a chat between themselves about how they all interact with each other. They get to know each other over the event, and watching those very real, very visceral's the best word I can come up with. Friendships develop at the table is something I really haven't seen anywhere else. I'm still in contact with both tables that I've run previously. We're all still friends. They all still play together. It's not just a case of coming and playing D&D and kind of leaving. It's you turn up, you play D&D, and then in a lot of cases, those groups really do bond very, very close. And that's why I keep coming back.
So sweet. Yeah, it's I see what you mean. It's kind of fascinating that you don't really have to worry about the stranger coming to the table next to you, because they are so invested, just like you, and then you pretty much leave with a new family that have been through some sort of trauma together, especially at your table with what you put them through.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Speaking of which, you have a lot of returning players pretty much fighting to come back to your table.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. No, I love them. I'm very excited. Two of my family mode players are coming back in July, and then my Chronicle mode group are coming back in November. And I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to traumatizing them in whole new ways. In both games very unique. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah, your November table actually requested you and booked you for themselves. It wasn't just a happenstance. It was right. They no.
No, I'd, it's still. I mean, there's a lot of things about DMing at the castle that kind of continually blow my mind. That one really did hit me. They were so so generous with their praise after the first one, and being British,
Feels
that's
good.
great. It hurts. I really do appreciate it, but it hurts me on a spiritual level to be praised. Um, but um, but yeah, the fact that they went and specifically chose me to run their table when they could have picked any of the myriad fabulous DMs. Yeah, it still hits a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, to add to the pain, it just speaks to the testament of how well you run your games, people want to come back. And I think that plus the community they build together is I think that's just really what brings them back too, is just that the family they make and then the amazing story they guys tell together. There's no wonder that we are just getting emails about when is Chris Hately coming back? And can I join his game? Oh, it's sold out. Can I be on a wait list? So yeah, yeah, I know. I can see your eyes. It hurts, but the truth. It is the truth. Which I think is a good transition to tell us a little bit about how you got into D&D Castle. I think this is a great story, and I think we should know about where you came from.
Okay. In 2019, D&D in a Castle ran in a place just outside Hexham called Langley Castle. My friend was the groundskeeper at the time, and he helped put some banners up, hanging off the towers. Looked incredible, and he asked, basically as a favor, "Do you mind if I invite one of my friends along?" So I came along. I didn't know what it was. I'd never heard of it before. It was still relatively new. So I very nearly didn't come. I thought it was just a fan event. I thought it'll be a little bit awkward. Can I be bothered to drive all the way up to Hexham? Anyway, I turn up. As I walk in, I'm introduced to Tara and Cam. I'm introduced to Langley's general manager, and as I'm just having a chat, I look up and I see Jeremy Crawford walking down the stairs with a pot of tea. And at that point, I realized that I had intruded and I should not be here. I am out of my depth. So anyway, fast forward. I did an event for Tara's dad, ran for some of his friends. And then fast forward to 2022. 2022? Yeah, 2022. I got a text message from Tara saying, "Hey, do you want to come and be our local driver?" So I came along. I did some volunteer work. I basically, if the event needed something, I drove out. I picked it up. I came back. I kind of volunteered my time. And then they're like, "Yeah, do you want to come back and be a paid member of staff?" Yeah, sure. And then over the course of, I think it was 8 rounds that we did that year in 2022. Over the course of those 8 rounds, I went from unpaid or kind of volunteer driver to one-shot DM, running one-shots for like Guy Sklanders, which was the most mind-boggling thing I'd ever done. And then after that, 2023, I ran one-shots all year. 2024, I run family mode and chronicle mode. And then 2025, yeah.
Here we are.
booked for a bunch of games.
Here we are. And again, a testament to just how great you are. And we love having you around. Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about kind of your hardcore mode coming up. And for those of us joining us, we're with Chris Hately, local legend in the UK for D&D in a Castle, doing a hardcore mode for us this July. Completely sold out castle already, very quickly. Table sold out very quickly. So we're talking a little bit about history and just this experience. And you're coming back again in 2026 for spring, which we are launching to deposit holders first next week. So if you want to join Chris or any other DMs for spring, you can definitely click on this QR code or go to dndinacastle.com/deposits to grab one of those. They have discounted currently, and you already have people who are vying for your table in spring. So we're not even selling tickets yet, and you might be sold out. However that works.
Yeah.
Players are very tenacious to get back to your table. We love it. We love it. So yes, and please ask us your questions. We're here with Chris or me. Give him the hard questions. Give me all your easy questions, just whatever you'd like. We're happy to answer them. But I do want to hear a little bit about your terrain that you might have planned. No spoilers for summer. No spoilers, but like, yeah, you kind of know terrain a bit, huh?
I do a little bit.
Mhm.
What have I got around that I can show that isn't gonna break? I mean, the classic is I think has been used in every game I've run so far is a fully rigged brig. Although I haven't gotten
Say that 10 times
sales
fast.
onto it yet. off stream, I don't want to embarrass myself. Yeah, I grew up a wargamer. I've been wargaming since I was 8. So my games, I really try to focus on kind of that visual, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of that impressive look. Show people exactly what they can see. And part of it comes down to me as a player as well. I can't really visualize very well, which is helpful as a DM. So seeing things like on the ground in combat, especially, it means that any players I have who have the same kind of thing, who can't easily visualize where everything is all the time, can see, boom, that's what everything is. That's what everything looks like. And it's wonderful to see people's faces when you put an actual colossal monster down. Like a beholder that's actually 3 meters across. Well, not physically, but like to scale is the full 3 meters across. It's lovely to see. Well, no, lovely to see. It fills my dark DM heart with joy to see their terror. But no, this room is full of 19th century manor houses, modular mountains, ruined cities. Just about every D&D creature you could possibly imagine, and 3 3D printers.
Galore. That's right. For your spring last one shot, you built a mansion for the one shot. It wasn't even a campaign. You had built the 1920s mansion.
Yep.
Which I think, so for people who don't know behind the scenes, we have an extensive library for DMs to grab from of minis and terrain. Chris doesn't use those. He brings all of his own to terrorize his own players with. We've got luggage that comes in and just, oh, this is Chris's corner of all his things he's going to use for his players, which I don't think you can really get in your own home game. I know not everyone has the time or the money or the space to have all of these things like you do. So I think that's special about coming to D&D and Castle. Like, if you've seen other DMs too in utilizing these resources. So how does that help like elevate the game for players in your experience?
Again, part of it, for me, part of it comes down to that kind of, against players having a physical representation in front of them. Part of it is the the tactile nature of it, being able to, when you see something in front of you, you can imagine different plans a lot more easily than kind of imagining. It speeds things up a little bit. Players aren't having to ask, okay, is there this? Is there this? They can, to a large extent, they can see, and even those bits of terrain might give them ideas to be like, is that rock over there? Is there a little divot in it that I can crawl under? Those kinds of things. But part of it also is that sense of, I don't get to do this at home. You see the incredible terrain setups that like Critical Role have always had, and I know when I used to watch that when I first started DMing, I would have loved to have like sprawling terrain setups, and now I get to do that, in part because I've experienced using that terrain at D&D in a castle, in part because I've kind of created stuff for my own games. But the just having that extra level to your game, having that the ability to pull that stuff out and impress players with the spectacle of it all, I think really does add something to the game as well.
Yeah, totally. It really helps, and I think I'm visual too, so I think it really helps kind of show what you're coming up against and what you're seeing, and for many of shouts of people when you see a giant thing show up on the table from the other room, like, oh, the dragon came out. Yeah. So, yeah, I would love to hear one of your favorite memories from one of your recent tables in the last year, family mode, chronicle mode, maybe a couple of top memories of just an experience you had at the table, especially as a DM and getting to experience it.
I think they both involve character deaths.
All right. Interesting.
just to tee these up. So I'll pick one from each. From the youth mode, or from the family mode, sorry. There were a ton of really good moments. I think the one that to me demonstrates what D&D in a castle is and how people come together is right at the end, essentially the epilogue. We had one player whose character, and he did not tell me this before the campaign. I found this out about an hour before the game started. Had a terminal disease, stone sickness. He was going to turn to stone. He had a magical item that slowed it down, but it was going to happen. Anyway, there were a few moments through the game that he kind of sacrificed some of his time to help other people at the table or other characters around the table. And then at the end of the game, they've beaten the big bad. He takes them to his family's cottage, where his mother and father, who both had the same disease, are stone statues in the yard. And he describes how he gives them cake, he talks to them, and then just turns to stone. And the rest of the party then did their own epilogues, talking about what their characters go and do afterwards. And almost all of it had something to do with Falala's death and how that death had kind of touched them, and how he'd kind of made them go out and do stuff, or his death had made them go out and do stuff. And that is one of the most beautiful moments I've ever seen at a table, for a start. All the players' reaction, including NPCs. We actually had 8 people around that, well, 9 including me, but 8 people around that table, because we had two of my friends who played in the playtest came in as well. And everybody instantly got on, instantly friends, and instantly bought into this one character's story in a really beautiful way. In Chronicle mode, Jeff created a cleric who was great. He was wonderful, but not always the brightest or the most dexterous. And at one point in a ship-to-ship battle, he decided to try and jump from one ship into the next. He missed, fell into the ocean, and drowned. And then at the start of the next session, I described how the god of the sea threatened him with keeping him alive at the bottom of the ocean for the remainder of eternity, unless he came to follow him. That was a lot of fun. Also, turning his old decrepit horse into a hippocampus was a lot of fun.
Sure. Yeah. Why not? And sorry, he took the deal, right?
He took the deal. He was very wet as he wandered around Mithranor for a little while, and then at the end of the campaign, he died forever. And again, we had a really nice little epilogue moment where he met his dead wife, and I got him crying as well. It was a lot of fun.
Amazing. So the character death means something. It seems like a lot in your games. Yeah. Well, speaking of which, we have a couple of players in our chat here. We have Sharon, we have Cole, who are just again. I know you love to hear this, singing your praises in the chat, and I'm sure they've been coming up. Which leads me to ask, what kind of player would want to be at your table?
I have a background in running public D&D, so I'm fairly adaptable to whoever comes to my table. That said, the types of game that I run tend to be fairly narrative, quite mechanical and strategic, but with a lot of space for you to do what you would like to do, and I will make the mechanics work around that. I also have a very, very old school bent. I love old school D&D, so a lot of that bleeds in trap design, dungeon design, a lot of the way that spells work. So, for example, lightning bolt in my game reflects. Fireball does not do a 20-foot radius. It fills the space that a 20-foot radius sphere would fill, which could potentially be a 300-foot corridor. So be careful, because I will find a way to hurt you, either emotionally or, at least for the character, physically.
Or both, it sounds like.
Yeah, happy to do both.
But again, your players keep coming back to your table.
Yes.
Like fighting for it, which again is a testament to how great in the community that it builds. And you've been at the castle a lot, like you said, since 2019. You've done so many rounds in many different aspects. So I would love to know, like, what is your favorite part of the atmosphere and how does it affect the game? And I know we're going into a different castle than we've been at before, but how does that general feeling of being in a castle affect the game that you're playing?
So thankfully, I have actually been to the new castle. I did. I was there for the photo shoot for all of the promo stuff that you've seen before these videos. And I think atmosphere wise, it'll be very, very similar. In part because it's the people who come along who build that atmosphere and that sense of magic, for which the castle is the backdrop. And I think that's the thing that I enjoy most about it, is you meet so many people from so many different backgrounds, who all have this one like weird niche interest that people aren't always going to get to discuss with a large number of people. I know a lot of people who kind of they are the D&D person. And the only reason I have friends who are into D&D is because I made them D&D people. I am patient zero. So getting to come along and spend time with a lot of people who are DMs, especially as well, and kind of get to play and talk and meet these incredible DMs who've written books that you own at home. Getting to meet Elisa Teague, Jason Carl, B. Dave Walders. And kind of just have dinner with people and chat about DMs and chat about your game. It's a unique experience, and it's a genuinely magical experience. Similar to the way that like Disneyland is like magical. You get there and it feels magical. D&D in a castle has a lot of that same feel.
Yeah, it really, like you said, magic, I think, is the best way to phrase it. Is just it's something unreal of being able to play a game, not worrying about outside life in a freaking castle. You kind of can't beat it. So we have a few minutes left. We've been chatting with Chris Hately, who is a local but soon to be a general legend, as one of your players said earlier. And you're free to ask us any last minute questions, but you're coming this July to our castle from July 13th to the 17th, which is already sold out. So sorry to tease that, friends, but we have plenty more options to play with Chris. Well, you also sold out in November. Again, high demand. But spring, you were coming up in spring. Tickets are going to be on sale for deposit holders first for next week. So grab your discounted deposit now. The deposit will not be discounted much longer. So grab that. Can you, Chris, give us a teeny tiny little teaser of what you might have planned for spring? And I'm very excited about this. I might quit my job so I can just play at your table. Little teaser.
Teeny tiny is the correct phrase, as I know you know. If you are a fan of Redwall, of the Rats of Nim, of Animals of Farthingwood, Watership Down, any of those books, any of those series, any of those movies, my game, you are all playing mice in a modern world, just this little tucked away corner of it. Aesthetically, very Anglo-Saxon. I love the northeast of England. I love its history. So I love getting to draw from that while throwing it into the modern world and adding little bits and bobs here and there. Essentially, there is an owl that is causing havoc. The kingdoms of the Musfold, specifically, I think for this game, Nordhimbra, which is Northumbria, are tasked with finding a way of hunting it down and killing it. And if you can imagine 6 3-inch tall mice hunting a barn owl with like the jaws of rodents on on sticks, and little what's the word I'm looking for? Little conker skin shields and little acorn hats. That this is your game.
It is my game. I want to join. And I can imagine the minis you have planned and the terrain you're going to create for this.
I am so excited. I've wanted these minis for a long time. They are essentially there is an STL company called Rescale Minis who do fabulous little realistic mice, not dressed up in like medieval clothing, not with swords and shields, just with stuff that you would find in a forest. So they've got little leaf hats, like I say, acorn helmets. They're riding frogs. I am so excited to have an excuse to buy and print these minis.
So join Chris's table and give him an excuse to buy and print these minis. This spring, you can catch him at his table with deposits opening up to the registration opening up to deposit holders next week. But there's still plenty of space to just come join D&D in a Castle this November as well. We also have some space left in our July in the USA round, which will not be at, but I don't know, demand enough for Chris, and who knows what'll happen. There's still space. You can see our upcoming event dates, dndcastle.com/events down here below. Really happy to have you here, Chris. Love chatting with you. And honestly, if anybody, you're at a castle and you're not at Chris's table, I could even go as far as say, just grab Chris and sit down with a cup of coffee and you'll have a really great chat. Maybe he'll be doing a one shot too. You never know. So anytime you can get some Chris, definitely go for it. So we are going to wrap this up. Chris, can you invite the people to come to D&D in the Castle? Give us a nice little invite to come join you in spring, because that's the only time you have available.
I am the type of person that D&D in a Castle is marketed to. I'm just a normal bloke who DMs in his spare time and lucked into the best job in the world. This, if you are able to come, if you are able to find the time to fly away to a British castle and play Dungeons and Dragons with some of the most motivated, like-minded people you will ever meet, do it, because it is even if it is a once in a lifetime thing, it is one that you will remember for the rest of your life. It's what's kept me coming back.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We will see you next time.
Bye.